So yeah, okay,
yep.
I think
Sounds
we
like a good
are
mix.
at our health, our employees' health, the health and wellness that we can deliver through our buildings, combined with green decarbonization, is really the mega trend that we need to focus on. And therefore, we set up this event on behalf of uHoo. It's hosted by uHoo. My name is Matthias Gelber. I support uHoo with some of the activities like the webinars, and it's always my great pleasure to chair it. We have 3 excellent speakers today that will actually provide case studies, insights, latest trends on this digitalization theme. What's going on? What's happening? How are we combining data, information, real time to optimize the green and health aspects of our real estate environment, both from an operational point of view, but even from a planning stage perspective already, technology. So great stuff today. I will kick things off with an entry poll where you can all get involved. Let me launch it just to set the scene. It's a multiple choice. I hope you can all see it. Please look at the different answers there. The question is, does your organization employ digital technology to ensure a healthy and safe environment? What tools and methods are currently being used that have the biggest benefit to your company? So you can use multiple choice, cloud-based services, big data, Internet of Things, mobile internet technologies, artificial intelligence, design thinking, traditional web technologies. Not sure, and we're not using anything. So give us your response. This will give us a good insight into what are the trends out there with our audience, with our practitioners. It's great to have you all here. I saw as well one comment in the chat, somebody saying hi from Spain. It's great that we have as well people from Europe present. Maybe one of your friends, Alberto, that joined us from Spain. Okay, excellent. Let me see here. We have Christian Schmitz as well saying hi. That sounds very much like a German, Austrian, or Swiss name. I'm originally from Germany, so usually those names look familiar to me. Okay, I will end the poll now and we will see the results coming here. Okay, I will share the results with you guys. And the Internet of Things has the top rating with 57% of all respondents. And then we have not sure and design thinking scoring pretty low with 10% as well. Artificial intelligence tools. That's maybe a little bit of a surprise, but I guess it's early days for artificial intelligence. So great. Thanks everyone for sharing. That's good. Without further ado, I will straight away get into the action. You are really looking forward to hear our speakers share their content. Our first speaker is Alberto Munoz Cuevas. He is the business incubation leader at Schneider Electric. He is based in Singapore and he's got a lot of interesting stuff to share with us. So Alberto, over to you.
Thank you very much. Let me share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, excellent.
Perfect. So it's a pleasure to be here. I have 7 minutes, so I'll try to go as quick as I can. As mentioned, I work for Schneider Electric, which is global leader on energy management and industry automation. And I want to talk a bit about the smart, green, and healthy buildings. Welcome to the new normal, right? I think this is the topic for the webinar today, so I want to share a bit about that. I think first of all, I want to share that despite of the working from home, working in the office is something that is going to stay. This is a poll that was done back in April last year, and people couldn't wait to go back to the office. So imagine now. Even in Schneider also, we did a poll internally to ask the employees what was the preference, and the preference was to still go back to the office but have a bit more flexibility to work from home. But still, the working from the office is something that is going to continue in the future. However, because of the new reality, right, post-COVID, and also other trends like decarbonization and consistent, and always looking to improve efficiency and productivity of both employees, but also assets. So we see that it's going to be an acceleration of a change that was happening already for around 4 topics, which are space management, occupant well-being, occupant engagement, and operational efficiency. I'm going to give you some case examples, and I'm going to use our headquarter building here in Singapore. This is a 25 years old building that we completely retrofit, and now it's one of the smartest buildings in Asia. I think the reason why I picked this building is because I want everyone to be aware that all these solutions that we're talking about are not only necessary for green buildings, for new projects, but actually it can be also for brownfield. It can be for very old buildings, right? And now, without further ado, we talk about 4 areas, right? That building owners, operators, and also tenants that need to be aware of, right? As they think about commercial space in the future. One is about space management. We have different components. It's not only about social distancing, which obviously is important, but also it's about monitoring of occupancy for the purpose of optimizing both the layout and also the space requirements, right? Right now, it's very difficult for companies to estimate what is the amount of real estate that they will require, because still, in some cases, people is working from home, going back to the office. They're changing regulations all the time and restrictions that open and close depending how the COVID is going. In reality, it's still a bit of a question mark, how much space I'm going to need in the future. And we have digital tools that could help to not only address the issue about social distancing, but also about having a more data and fact-based information to optimize the layout of the offices and the space that you require in general on real estate. And I'll show you a couple of examples quickly. The second one, very important, is occupant well-being. This is something that was very top of mind before, but now it's even more. And very much related to air quality monitoring, optimal humidity, etc., but many other elements as well, including lighting, noise levels, cleanliness, etc., etc. Now, a couple of examples here of these are actually how the tools look like from Schneider. This is sort of like the dashboard that you have as a facility management company, where you're looking around the safe distancing, so you can set thresholds of different occupancy that you can have in different spaces, and with that you can ensure that you don't have too many people gathering in one space, one particular room or floor, etc. So when you come to our building, actually here in Singapore, in the ground floor, you can see what is the occupancy at every level and what is that threshold. So if you see that one floor is close to be fully utilized, then you can move it to another floor because we have hot desks, so you can work from anywhere. Also on the optimized layout and space to new requirements. So here you can see real time, but also over time, what is the actual utilization of the space in an office. What that enables you is to identify areas. For example, you may realize that common areas are not being utilized that much any days. People prefer to go in a meeting room or the other way around. And that can help you to change the layout to have more meeting rooms or more hot desks and whatnot, right? But more importantly, it helps you to identify what is the real occupancy levels that you have in the building over time, so you can do much better space planning, much more fact-based. And then obviously key monitoring. So this is about having sensors to monitor all kind of different measurements in the air and then as we see, for example, maybe too much CO2 levels, too much temperatures or whatnot. Through our BMS, through our building management system, we can control the HVAC, for example, and other systems to improve the quality of the air. Then also, I mentioned about occupant engagement. We see this as something that is required more and more from our customers. This is about having applications that enable the bidirectional communication between the occupants of the building and the facility management company and the company in general. Apps that you can use to book rooms, to even send documents for printing and whatnot, but also you can help to receive very important information from the facility management company, e.g., don't go to this floor, or this is under maintenance. Or also you can use it to provide feedback if there is any kind of issue in the building. And then last but not least, operational efficiency. This is at the core everything that we do at Schneider. This is something that is still very relevant for our customers, and it will be even more in the future. It's about optimizing HVAC and energy use, and power management, etc. But also it's about increasing resiliency, right? As we see now with the new normal, there may be situations where you cannot have physical access to the facilities, right? So having the right monitoring tools that can allow you to do that remotely, have the right tools to allow for the right preventive maintenance, etc., will help in general to increase the resiliency of the buildings. And I know that I'm over time, so I won't give you in the details of some of the tools that we have. I think for the outcomes for our building in Kalan, here in Singapore. So we have managed to reduce almost 50% of electricity consumption, which translate to 1,200 plus tons of carbon emissions per year. And we got the BCA Green Mark Platinum building, which it was the first time it was given for a brownfield project. Yeah. So I think few takeaways I want you to keep with you. One, the office is a place that is there to stay, so we are all going to continue going to the office. However, the way that we think about interacting and managing the office is going to change, and it's never too late. Okay, it can be done for new buildings, but also for old ones. That's all from me. You're on mute, Matthias.
Sorry, guys, I've got to unmute myself. Yeah, and I was so excited, Alberto, you stayed on time. That's excellent. Muchas gracias. That's great. And I'm looking forward to travel again to Singapore, hopefully once everything is under control, and then visit your HQ to see all these amazing solutions in action. That's an excellent case study.
We're looking forward to have you, and we have an innovation center where we display all this technology. You can see live actually there. So
excellent, wonderful. Looking forward to that. Great. And our next speaker will be Saurabh Bagra. He is the senior principal architect at CPG, and he has got a lot of interesting things to share with us as well from an architectural and design and planning stage, how we can address these things at an early stage. So Saurabh, over to you. Looking forward to your presentation.
Thank you, Matthias. Thanks, Alberto, for the interesting presentation. I hope you all can see my screen.
Yes.
Is it visible? Okay. All right. Thanks. So it's a great pleasure to be presenting today and sharing my experiences and recent global events, how they have shaped how we perceive workplaces. Yeah. So what makes a great workplace in a way, right? So in simplest of definitions, I would say that it's a place which is informed by a great culture, intelligent technology, creates a great workplace. So this was pre-COVID, and after COVID, all these perceptions have been changed. And seeing what the new normal would be, we've been talking about like things will change, will be very different. We'll be working from home. The nature of work is constantly changing. So what does it mean for us, and how can we see where we are heading to? Right. But I think one thing is very certain. There will be very, very high adoption and changes in the technology, changes in government policies. And I think we really need to be very agile, very adaptable in our planning and approach to be able to ensure that the new normal that we are in right now, we are able to counter those shifts. So I'll just bring back the audience on the topic that is very, very dear and critical, especially in today's time, is to building resilience. And we all know that, you know, we can't predict this new normal, but it's very important to have a very, very strong organizational immune system, kind of like adopting a change mindset, so to say, because it's a long-term approach. Building resilience doesn't happen in a day. It requires a long-term approach, a lot of thinking and a lot of planning. And on that front, when we say we need to plan for things or uncertain situations and environments for tomorrow, we can never plan for everything. So we can only plan for certain scenarios, and scenarios that are practical, scenarios that we understand, know of today. And I think the other important aspect to building that resilience and is to understand what the needs of tomorrow might be like, question all these things and plan for solutions based on these needs and all. So we keep on asking ourselves, what will it cost? You know, what is the efficiency that I derive today? So we really need to change that mindset, and we really need to ask ourselves, what are the problems we are trying to solve for tomorrow? And that basically guides us in informing how resilient our tomorrow's facilities can be, in a way. So we'll move from here. And again, we talk about, like, we've heard so much about workplace of the future, you know, a lot of people talking about that. And how do we future-proof our facilities? So the most critical and important things to us, we've seen are that, like, you really need to have a approach that is sustainable and resilient, and building up on your key basic principles of design and strategies that you adopt will be very, very important. So there's a great opportunity. And going forward, we also see, let's see how the government organizations, the regulators are also changing their policies to fill in this gap. So in the next slide, here you see this is BCA's green mark. I think our third speaker, Jidesh, will probably like elaborate more in detail, but the key emphasis here is that the regulators have also changed their focus from sustainable to more healthier buildings. And just recently, BCA announced the Green Mark 2021 framework, which celebrates and identifies features such as intelligence, health and well-being, resilience as part of the environmental sustainability. So they are very, very getting compact and clear. And this is also in line with the UN's Sustainable Development Goals, which is great in a way. And to that effect, there's also global convergence of sustainability and wellness across various other organizations, the WGBC, Wellness Institute, and the WELS. So all these tools and ratings are all coming together and converging, which is great for us. So what does that mean to us as practitioners? We were already using most of these tools in our design and in our design approach, how we approached solutioning and problem solving. So I think for us post-COVID, it was very important to reframe this entire in a very clean framework that we could engage and apply these strategies. So we came up with these 6 design strategies that really helps us as designers to start and look into big broad buckets that basically help from the inception stages down to the completion, and how we leave our facilities when we finish the design, basically. So I'll talk more about these 6 key design drivers. So the first one is the planning principles, where the key is to ensure adaptability and flexibility, where we start to understand what's the context we are designing for, what are the programs and the functions, and what are the finer controls, for example, that we need to influence. And recently, in context of workplaces, we knew that we started to have lift segregation, screening areas, split team operations, and how the nature of work also started to change, how people started to have less density within the workplaces. So that density management became very important. And I think Alberto touched upon that earlier on. There are tools today available to monitor that and influence that as well. The next one was materiality, where we think it's very important to have resilient materials that promote health and safety within the workplace. What it means is using antimicrobial, antibacterial surfaces which are non-porous and low in VOC, so your IAQ can improve within the workspace. And most of these materials also come from settings such as healthcare. We are seeing high adoption of materials that we use in healthcare settings being used in offices as well, especially those high touch points that require frequent cleaning and disinfection. And the next one, very, very important, is the biophilic approaches in the workplace. So adopting that nature and wellness approach in our built environment is quite important, because we really need to, and especially for the urban environment in Singapore, we really need to bring that design from outside in a way to bring those biophilic elements within the workspace that not only help to reduce stress, toxins, improve the air quality within the space, but also improve health and well-being of the employees within the office spaces. And I think there's a very interesting study here, which basically says, and it was done quite a while back, which basically says that the energy consumption of a commercial office space is only 1% of the entire budget. 87% of that budget goes into the salaries and everything else. So imagine if there's a 1% rise in productivity through the biophilic approaches that we take today, you can already pay for your energy consumption for your office spaces. So it's very interesting and powerful, and just reframes how important it is to adopt these approach within the office context. The next one is the systems design, the engineering. How do we engineer our spaces? How a robust IT backbone is important as well, knowing that there's a high degree of technology adoption. So we are seeing that offices are also like now using high degree and high grade, high efficiency filters. We are running airflow simulations, looking at critical areas, how the directional airflows would be to ensure occupants are breathing safe and healthy air. And lastly, it's also IAQ monitoring systems are becoming very, very important, so as to assure people that the space they are occupying is safe for operations, which constantly monitors the status in real time. And coming on to the theme of today's presentation, basically is the technology, how technology is shaping the workplace or the new normal in a way. There are multiple technologies out there. There's wide uses and applications in commercial settings. But what is important really, and what are the provisions we need to make in our infra provisions we need to make going forward? So today I'll just cover very briefly on contactless technology and wireless systems. Here you see this is some of the examples we've been using in grade A commercial office buildings in Singapore, and you've seen this getting more and more common, screening in the security areas using infrared sensors. So space occupancy, gathering with the heat maps and all. If a certain area, you see the space occupancy or the density getting too high or unsafe, you can already use this to nudge people and enforce safety distancing as well. Using those video analytics through IoT integration is becoming very, very prevalent now. And again, security is a major determinant of how safe your building is in a way. Even for offices, for example, when you walk in, you have these infrared temperature sensors, and all these contact tracing, occupant tracking integration within the apps. So we see a lot of automation, especially with regards to security, that not only ensures that people entering the facility are safe designated people who should be there, but the occupants are safe as well in a way. So through IoT integration, I think there's a lot of potential out there, and we see a lot of technologies coming up. The next important one we see a lot is contactless design approach. So we used to see this a lot in healthcare settings previously, where you would want to minimize touch and prevent cross infections and all. But this is going to be table stakes going forward, even in offices and commercial settings, where you want to avoid physical touch. And the design has to be contactless to enable people not to use touch anymore. So gesture controls, voice activated systems, automated dispensing systems, they'll be very, very important going forward. And the next one is, of course, like earlier Alberto covered, and later we'll hear from Jidesh as well, that smart operations is becoming very important within the facilities, where you really need, you get that flexibility to control that environment from mobile apps, voice activated controls, environmental, automated environmental lighting, such as circadian lighting and all. And all this digitalization within the workspace basically really helps, because everything is at your fingertips. So again, going back to that concept of having a very robust IT backbone and having the very centralized building management system, which basically is more like a concierge to you, will help the occupants and the operators to ensure that they can remotely monitor and manage the facilities.
Saurabh, I hope you can wrap up shortly. Thanks.
Yes, just 2 more slides and that's it. So the last one is more on the real estate. We focus a lot on physical planning, and we are now focusing on the digital master planning, which blends the interface of the physical and the digital realm in a way. And how we do it is using digital twins when we start designing, to ensure that the users have smart user experience, and using all these smart processes and facility planning, which again, I covered previously, is already integrated. So bringing and bridging that two together, again, is very, very critical. And having that digital layer is very important. If you don't plan it right up front, you don't plan who the users are, what their needs are, and integrate that layer of the digital layer within your planning process, it probably is very, very difficult later on. So you can improve the outcomes really very early on if you consider these things. And the last one probably is one of the examples facility management colleagues use of analytics dashboards and mobile apps to maintain and remotely monitor these facilities, similar to what Alberto covered. And I'll just leave you here with what the resilient workplace would probably be like. And since the pandemic has really influenced and challenged our traditional workplace notions, it has therefore become very important for our future workplaces to be very flexible and adaptable, and especially integrate those health and well-being as the major drivers when we consider planning for these facilities. And with this, I just finished my presentation. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks a lot, Saurabh. That was excellent. Resilient workplace, the vision for the future already happening now. We will move now to Jidesh Kambil. He's the Senior Manager of Certification and Technology at the Singapore Green Building Council. I hope you can stay on time, Jidesh, so that we have plenty of time for discussion. I know you have a lot of exciting slides to share with us. Over to you.
Thank you, Matthias. Yes, I will try to fly through my slides. But for those of you who are joining us today, don't worry, the slides will be sent out. But let me see. I'm going to do my best over here. All right, so welcome everyone. Today I'm going to give a brief overview of what are the different green building solutions and how we can actually help in the adoption of digital technology. Okay. So to start off, I work for SGBC, Singapore Green Building Council. We are a national council represented in Singapore. And we have a lot of members in the built environment value chain, around 450 plus members. And we do organize a lot of events such as networking sessions and youth engagement events, sustainability spotlights, etc. So those of you who are from Singapore, I'm sure you must be familiar with our events. And of course, we are also part of the World Green Building Council. We are Singapore's national representative to the World Green Building Council. Okay, and the World Green Building Council has come up with a lot of programs in the last few years. One of them is Advancing Net Zero, which had set up some targets as to what you must try to achieve by 2030 in terms of zero carbon, and by 2050, for example. It has transformed a bit more into this whole life carbon program right now. So right now, the target is that by 2030, they expect all new buildings to be net zero operational carbon. But the new add-on is that by 2030, they also expect all new buildings to have 40% less embodied carbon. So this is a big shift. Okay, and by 2050, of course, the target is that all buildings will be running on net zero operational carbon, while all new buildings will be net zero embodied carbon. Okay, so in the interest of time, we won't go into the specifics of embodied carbon and operational carbon right now. So I'm going to just assume that we are familiar with it. But the one main thing is there's a huge shift from energy to carbon as a key metric. Okay, and regardless of the pathways that you follow to get to the net zero, I think the key point is that you need to have good practices when it comes to measurement of your energy consumption or your carbon emissions, and how that data is actually disclosed and shared and distributed. So this is where I think the digital innovations that are coming up right now is very important for both today and the future. So you can see that World Green Building Council also looks at air quality in the built environment through some of the programs like Better Places for People. If you have a look at the health and well-being framework, again, you can see there's a huge importance for air quality, for health, for thermal comfort. So all of these things are there. It's not just about reducing your energy consumption. It's not just about reducing your carbon emissions. It's about creating a good quality of life as well. So if we cannot achieve a good quality of life, then it's not considered as a successful alternative. And of course, all of this ties in with the Sustainable Development Goals by the United Nations. So just by doing proper green buildings and using proper green technologies and materials, you can achieve a lot of these goals that has been set up by the United Nations when it comes to a sustainable city. Okay. Here locally in Singapore also, Singapore has gone live with the new Green Plan 2030 this year. And I think it's wonderful that it's actually pushing towards sustainability in a big way. And our Green Building Master Plan, which has also been created recently, also touches upon this. Now we have a new target of 80-80-80. Now what that means is they expect 80% of green buildings by GFA to be green buildings by 2030. They also expect that 80% of your new developments should be SLEB or super low energy buildings by 2030. And they expect that the top of the class building should be at least 80% more efficient than buildings from 2005. Okay, so all of this means that you need to have a lot more input, in terms of sensors and measurements and things like that, because without proper measurements, you don't know exactly how much more efficient you are as compared to before. So the key here is to be able to, measure, to be able to, to use this kind of digital solutions to actually come up with better data. And not to forget that when we did the Singapore Green Building Master Plan, BCA actually did a lot of surveys and engagement with people. So you can see that in addition to being energy efficient, they also expect that it should improve your occupant comfort. Okay, it should enable better and smarter management of building operation and be environmentally friendly. So you can also see from this broad strategies for super low energy buildings that building automation and smart energy management is one of the key pathways to achieve the goal finally. So without proper smart energy management, I think you probably are not going to reach that goal. So just a quick look at how certification helps over here. So Singapore at SGBC, we have a few certification schemes. One is for the Singapore Green Building Product Scheme, okay, which looks at building materials and products. We have a Singapore Green Building Services certification, which looks at the companies, the consultants and services, and we had addressed like how sustainable they are. And we also have certification for Green Market accredited professionals. So this is from an individual level, from a skill point of view. So just to expand on those things, SGBS or Singapore Green Building Services was launched in 2012, and it helps to recognize which are the companies which have a strong commitment to sustainability and has a good track record of proving that they are capable of providing the green services. Our Green Building Products certification scheme, again launched in 2011. It's unique in the market because first, it's the only system with a tiered rating system, so we can differentiate between good versus best. Okay, and there's a key focus is always on health and safety of the products, product efficiency, resource efficiency, and life cycle assessment. So in a nutshell, when you choose a certified product, we can ensure that the product is eco-friendly, it's safer, healthier, and holistic. So you can also see the way our certification guidelines are. Is like we have different sections, which are some are mandatory, some are selective. And of course, when it comes to mandatory, things like resource management, safety data sheets, heavy metal tests, all these things are mandatory, and of course, performance as well. So there's a lot of things that we look at. So rest assured, when you do get a certified with us, then of course it's an assurance that this product has been vetted for holistic sustainability. If you look at our certificate, you can find all this information out there as to like how many ticks and the validity of the cert, for example, or more information on our directory over here. So just going to quickly run through the different product categories we have. So we have around 6 main categories: architectural, civil, structural, landscape, mechanical, electrical, and smart. So around 4,000 plus products at the moment, 132 product categories and growing. But what I want to actually touch upon right now is, this is what we're doing right now. Since the second half of last year, we had started on a lot of smart product categories right now. So basically it has been mostly under smart lighting and smart energy management systems. Okay, so out of this, we have got like around 5 different categories right now. And for the first time, we actually have product categories for digital products, because we understand that there are a lot of digital products right now in the market, which has a huge impact on the building performance. So which is why now we have a smart digital platform, for example, for both smart lighting and smart energy management systems. Then of course, we'll have more physical products also coming in, like controller devices, smart meters, smart sensors. The future development, of course, the top on our agenda is the smart IIQ control system. uHoo is actually one of our good partners as we develop these kind of categories. And you'll see in the next coming months, you'll probably see a lot more of these categories coming out. So just going to wrap it up with the alignment with the BCA Green Mark. Okay, so of course, we've always been having a lot of weightage when it comes to points under BCA Green Mark, whether it's for the SGBS or SGBT products. Right from 2015, you can see there's a whole lot of like options to score points when it comes to materials, sustainable materials, indoor air quality, and things like that. So this focus has always been there. Of course, under Green Mark for healthier workplaces, this has been enhanced to look more into healthier workplaces. Okay, but the big change coming now is Green Mark 2021. So here, what is going to happen is you're going to have a general sustainability requirements and guidelines, but along with that, you're going to have a few badges, like Saurabh mentioned, is kind of similar to the United Nations SDG badges. Okay, so for example, in this case, you can see that there's something called innovation or intelligence rather. So you have energy efficiency, intelligence, health and well-being, whole life carbon, maintainability, and resilience. So under intelligence badge, you see that there's a lot more scope to score points when you use an SGBC certified smart products. So we are also working at full pace to try and come up with as many categories as possible so that we can help choose the right product. Now, if you ask why choose SGBC certified products, how do we help because this technology is out there already. So what we do is we actually take the guesswork out of the equation. So when we come across all these developers and consultants, they always want to work with people who have the best products, but are also sustainable. Yeah? And when you talk about sustainability, we're not just talking about energy efficiency. We're looking at it holistically, right from the energy management practices of the firm, okay, who is developing these kind of products. So we ensure that the products that are certified with us, they cover all these things. They are holistically sustainable. Okay, we have tiered performance ratings to ensure we can differentiate between the good versus the better and the best. And it just takes the guesswork out of the equation. So this is why I think this is how we were actually trying to contribute to this new shift towards digital innovation in the built environment. Okay, so I think that is all I have for today, and I hope I have met the timeline.
Yeah, you did a good job, Jiddish, especially considering you had so many slides to go through. Whirlwind tour, excellent. We have as well straight away a question for you that was asked in our Q&A section. Saurabh already answered the question about the smart windows in writing. So if anyone is interested in that, you can have a look at it. The question here is about whether green certified sustainable building features lead to higher property value and rental return, or whether SGBC certified buildings have higher property value.
Okay, something I had to clarify here is SGBC, we do not certify buildings. We certify products that are used in buildings, building materials and products. So which has traditionally been architectural products or civil structural products, electrical, mechanical products, and now smart products. So these kind of products, when they used, right, they actually create a better environment. And from our experience, and also in when you talk with BCA, right, buildings that often go for Green Mark Gold, Gold Plus, Platinum, they usually use a lot of these certified products. You know, it actually helps them to meet their targets when it comes to Green Mark. And it has been, I think, fairly evident in the past few years to almost a decade that greener buildings often do get a better premium when it comes to rental and sales. So I think that economic sense is always there. There is a short payback return of investment period of around 3 to 5 years maximum for even ambitious platinum projects. So the whole cost of going green is not that huge right now. And when you choose certified products and you have a better designed building, you actually have better value for your buildings. So that is there.
Maybe I can just confirm that I did an interview some months ago with Raymond Rufino, the owner of the Neo Group here in the Philippines. And he told me point blank, like, because we are green certified, platinum certified, we have a reputation for green and healthy buildings, we can charge a higher rent than other players in this area. So there is evidence in practice from quite a lot of developers that have clearly experienced both a higher valuation of their overall real estate and the ability to charge higher rents. And I think in the future, in the near future, particularly with offices being empty due to the crisis, it will be a competition, you know, how green and how healthy is your office space to attract people back in again and to make your real estate deliver commercial returns for you. So this is super important, healthy green building and digitalization and making your residents feel safe, so that I think there's no other way around than focusing on this. We have as well a question that came in, which was basically asking about, I think it's been answered already partially, right? But
yeah, I guess.
Buildings.
Right. Okay, yeah, I guess I can probably take this on as well. So just to clarify again, Green Mark is still under BCA, although we do work closely with BCA, but BCA handles Green Mark, whereas we handle certification of building materials and products. So yeah, we do not certify buildings as such, but we do help in the assessment process and things like that when it comes to BCA Green Mark.
Yeah, we had a question from Gio Kia on the industrial developments and buildings. I think Alberto gave an answer, and I think Saurabh is as well typing another answer on that one. Maybe Saurabh, you want to share?
Yeah, I think I can just verbalize that.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Thanks, Alberto. I think this ties back to higher adoption of digital workflows and automation in the industrial parks and buildings. The national and global vision is also to, in a way, automate all these processes and cut back on, labor inputs, for example. So there is a very high scope. But going back to buildings, the occupant safety again is very important, and nothing less important than an industry setting where you really need to ensure that such accidents don't happen. The quality of the environment, the air they're breathing and all is very, very critical. So I think all the three presentations spoke about basically is very relevant. In fact, industrial settings derive the highest benefit of all, in a way.
Yeah, I think as well, the other mega trend is we have seen huge outbreaks in factories of COVID.
Yeah.
In Germany. We've had it in quarters of workers in Singapore, in Malaysia. That has put the emphasis on especially listed companies. What are you doing for your employees? Working conditions, health and wellness, or even going into the supply chain. Tonight, I'm attending a webinar on health, safety, and wellness in the supply chain. So these are mega trends for factories, for even real estate that's associated with factories to house the employees. So I think this is 100% applicable or even more critical and more important for the long-term corporate value. And if you look at share prices of listed companies, some of the ESG funds and rating agencies have downgraded companies based on not enough is being done for their supply chain or for their employees in terms of health and wellness. So very important subjects for factories as well and buildings. We had this other question on the windows, and Lilette was saying it's good if we answer that verbally as well. I think it's quite an exciting subject. Saurabh, you made a comment on windows, but I think Alberto as well. Maybe I'd love to hear what you guys did for the windows in the Schneider building when you retrofitted it to improve the performance, because a lot of heat gain in Southeast Asia comes from the sun-facing windows.
Yeah, I think there are different solutions that you can consider, right? So I think first of all is the amount of windows that you put and what area of the buildings, right? I think obviously if I think that's the obvious one. Also, you can have passive systems, like louvers and so on, that allow to have light coming in without having the direct ray of lights, right? And so on and so forth. Now there are also more, and you can use films, etc., to reflect the light. There are also more sophisticated solutions there, which we do not have in Schneider, but we have partners that we bring into our portfolio of solutions that we integrate within our BMS, which is basically it's like a dynamic tinting of the glass of the windows, so it can be adjusted automatically the level of opacity of the window depending of the amount of lighting that there is outside, right? So I think there are many different solutions around that.
Yeah, I think this is a very important topic, because I always remember I gave an energy efficiency talk at a famous Malaysian university, and I went there in the morning and there was no light, no sun facing the side of the building, but I spotted it in the afternoon. The sun came in, but the blinds were down all day long and the artificial lights were on all day. Even though if you would have had a system, either operational control procedures where the cleaners pull down the blinds at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, or an even more effective automated system, you could have used the daylight to power those workspaces there. And that was the original idea of the architect. But the blinds were down all day, the lights were on all day. That is happening in many buildings and we don't use the natural light, which is good for our productivity as well. So I think automation is maybe the best way of moving that forward. I wanted to as well come back to one or two other points. One thing that I thought was very interesting that both Alberto mentioned and Saurabh was monitoring the occupancy of space in buildings, with now us having to put a focus on that. I think, Saurabh, the examples you gave was, some digital monitoring. Alberto, what kind of methodology were you using? I've heard people using the CO2 levels as well to gauge the space occupancy. What are the latest trends there, and how can we digitally manage that?
For us in Schneider, we use sensors. Basically, you have the basic, the simplest sensor is you have like a little sensor in, for example, under the desks, and then once you are sitting in the desk, then the sensor detect there is a person there, right? So I think that's sort of like the most economical. But there are also, we also have we have a portfolio company called Anivision that they have like artificial intelligence applications on camera, through cameras, and include people counting, and obviously those are more expensive and sophisticated solutions that often clients don't want to use it more for a commercial space, let's say, right? It's more about security and others. But there are multiple solutions. I heard also about the CO2. I think obviously the only thing, the CO2, it's more. It's not only dependent on the number of people that you have in a room, also it's dependent on the ventilation, so it's not so exact. Right? So I think that the most exact, to know exactly the amount of people in a space, the best is actually use cameras and artificial intelligence, I would say, and then the sensors, that I just described earlier, which are more focused on different workstations, something that is fairly effective as well. That's the later is the one that we have in our office here in Singapore.
Yeah. I was thinking about the CO2 because here in the Philippines, we have a DOLA regulation now that says it shouldn't be above 1,000 ppm. And 1,000 ppm, if you don't have good air circulation, and if you have, a certain number of people in, you hit that very easily. I used to bring my uHoo with me when I went to office buildings, and I was even in a platinum certified LEED building, and the partitioned off meeting room inside, which had no fresh air coming in, had a CO2 level of nearly 3,000 ppm while I was in a meeting room there. So this is important as well from a COVID risk. I was wondering, Jiddish, whether you see any trends there in the products that you're looking at, that you're certifying. Are people making that linkage between controls, automation, CO2 levels, occupancy? That's quite a complex relationship, but an interesting one.
Yeah, absolutely. I think over the past couple of months, we had a lot of interest from products, especially to get certified, which deal with IAQ. And not only from these people, like we also have a lot of, let's say, connections when it comes to developers and consultants. And you can see even from the developers' point of view, they actually want to invest in these kind of products because it's about health and hygiene right now. So everyone wants to live in a healthier environment, especially with this new pandemic breaking out. People have a renewed probably interest in health, and especially indoor air quality and the impact of indoor air quality on people and their productivity and things like that. I think locally, BCA has already recognized that there is some scope for this thing. So which is why this whole rating tool for healthier workplaces came about. So you can also see that in the new version of Grima coming out, this holistic aspect of it, it's actually also been enhanced. So there is a lot of interest, both from the users, the developers, as well as the product suppliers, in coming up with this new solutions to target better IAQ. So it's not a niche product anymore. It's starting to become more and more mainstream. So I think as you go along, you'll find that there will be a lot more uptake for these kind of products, especially as it kind of integrates with our new lifestyle of being a digital solution. We are already surrounded by so many digital solutions. Our phone itself, has access to so many different data. So this you will probably see becoming a much more mainstream, I guess, in the coming years.
Great. That's excellent to hear, and good news for uHoo and all the other people that are here on the webinar who are in the commercial business of providing those solutions. There is good business to be made. Developers want to invest in it. They see the relevance of it. The occupants, the residents, the customers are asking for it. The ESG funds are asking for it for listed companies. So I think it's all moving into one joint direction. I think, Saurabh, you had some interesting statistics there on, why this is so important in terms of the ROI and reducing the sick leave and stuff like that. But I felt maybe because it was US statistic, the energy part was so small, whereas in Singapore and Philippines in particular, where salaries are lower, but the cost of electricity is quite high, the electricity part might be a little bit higher than that, but still, for any part of the world, that aspect is amazing. Have you seen any statistics from Singapore or any other place where people have tried to quantify the sick leave benefits of having a healthy office?
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. And I do agree that it's globally applicable, but yeah, we love aircon, don't we? The humidity levels are so high, we've gotten used to it. But I think all these biophilic strategies, there is definitely a higher trend of people taking less leave. The second important thing is that more and more people relate to the organizational culture better if it's more sustainable and forward-looking towards the health and well-being of the employees. So I think a lot of leave, sick leaves and all probably is also like, how empowered do you feel within your workspace? How excited do you feel to turn up every day? And that really makes a difference. So you see a lot of trend there, that more and more places, and I think you highlighted that earlier as well, that developers are charging a premium for such office spaces. And this premium is basically built basically on all these elements that are on offer, and employees embrace this culture basically within their organizations. So definitely the metrics are there, not a proven number. It all depends on what the organizational value cultures are and what kind of how do they want to present that image as well to the employees and have amenities in the office.
Excellent. We have 3 more questions, but just in the interest of time, because I need to wrap up, we have the exit poll and the short 1-minute video. So I'll just try and address them myself very quickly. There are 2 questions on CO2 sensors. Yeah, if you can have them in each room, that would be best, because that way you can manage each room and see what's going on. As I gave the example earlier, the meeting room had a high CO2, but nobody knew about it. And then Han Lo was asking, do we have enough qualified personnel to monitor? I think you're right. We need to do a lot of training and capacity building. And then I just see from Paul from France, good to see you are here. Harvard Healthy Building Programs has published calculations for balance sheet impact on increased airflow. This is excellent. Paul, can you find the link and share it with us in the chat? I think Christian Schmitz as well from Germany, he is connecting, he's suggesting connect on LinkedIn. Excellent. Paul, if you can share that link from Harvard where they calculate the returns of healthy buildings, that would be excellent. Let me share the exit poll where you can actually then as well articulate what kind of follow-up you would like to have if you want to connect with any of our speakers. Here you can share that. You want to follow up with Alberto, with Saurabh, with Jiddish, with me, surprise. I wasn't expecting myself to be in that list. Lilette, you should chop me out. I'm just a facilitator. Anyway, that's okay if anyone wants to get in touch. So yeah, I will wait a little bit so that you can share whom you want to follow up with. You will get the slides in PDF. And Christian made a good suggestion. Let's connect on LinkedIn so people can continue the conversation. Maybe I'll wait a little bit more. So far, only 25% of you have communicated whom you want to follow up with. Let it get at least to 50%. Please click multiple choice. No problem. I think we had great presentations today. I learned a lot. I got inspired. We are really moving in the right direction. And I love as well the trend in Singapore with the new version of the certification coming out, focusing really as well on the whole, how do you call it, Jidis? Lifetime carbon?
Lifetime carbon, yes.
Yeah,
Whole life
lifetime
carbon.
Wow.
Whole life carbon.
Full life carbon. That's a great concept,
Whole
because
life
otherwise,
carbon is great.
yeah, we kind of mix things up. So that is beautiful. I think that is excellent. So here we go. Let me just show you. It's not really a popularity contest here, but Alberto and Jiddish have the highest number of follow-ups, and I have the least. That's okay with me. I'm fine. Great, guys. And I think we have some more sharing here in the chat box. I think Lilette has a quick 1-minute exit video for us. Great to have you all here. Everybody, thanks for participating from all over the world. Thanks, Lilette from uHoo, for setting it up. And thanks, Alberto, Sarab, and Jidesh for excellent contributions, excellent presentations. Hope to see you guys all in Singapore when everything has changed. And here we go, the video.
Tenants are worried about the air they breathe in their workplace due to COVID-19. Science has shown that poor indoor air increases the risk of coronavirus surviving and spreading through the air. Your tenant's safety may be at risk if they are exposed to poor air quality, resulting in worsened allergies and asthma, and may lead to long-term illnesses. Tenants who don't feel safe and comfortable are not likely to stay. There's never been an easy way to deal with problems in the air, until now. uHoo Aura continuously monitors all the important things in the air, so you know exactly what to do to improve it. View real-time and historical data of all your locations and manage them from one dashboard. Get alerts if any of your buildings exceed safety limits, so you can immediately take action. You'll get tips on what you can do to reduce the risk and ensure the safety of your tenants 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. uHoo. Take control. Ensure safety. Reduce churn.
Thank you very much, Lilette. Thanks, uHoo, for hosting this event for all of us and sharing with us the exciting vision of the uHoo Aura. And we are looking forward. Next month, we have another uHoo event coming up. This is recorded as well. We will share the recording with you. Thanks so much, everyone. I really enjoyed it. I learned a lot. Digitalization, healthy and decarbonized buildings. That's the future. Cheers. See you guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Matthias. And thanks,
you.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.